Good morning.
Good
How's everybody doing
morning.
out there?
Good morning. So good to see you.
You're not as good of a singer as Shayna.
Oh wow, I would agree.
Yeah. We
Eh,
should we should have her do our morning singing intro.
yeah. I'm telling you, man. I still think that the Brothers Osborne song, the new intro, it's pretty good. I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to figure that out. One of these days. We've been talking about that for like a month now.
There's an app for that.
Yeah, there is Soundhound. I think is what it's called. That I
There's
like
a,
to
there's
use.
a few.
Yeah. Hmm.
Let's say hi to some people here. Morning, Jerry or Garrison. Jerry's right under him. Morning,
There's
Jerry.
Jerry.
I did that out of order.
Hey, who's this next guy?
Good morning, Jason. How you doing?
How you doing?
Morning, Jojo. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And everybody who hasn't chimed in. Today, we're talking creating boundaries,
We are.
something all of us need to do.
Yeah, you got to
Or,
be careful. If you don't, you know, create those boundaries, you'll end up in a coffin somewhere.
oh, yeah, we're
So,
all going to end
you know,
up there anyway. But,
yeah, I did. I
mm,
saw an ad for a coffin the other day, and I thought to myself, man, that's the last thing that I need.
absolutely,
See, great setup, great delivery.
that
I'm
was
telling you,
perfect. That
that's
was
good.
that was actually a decent one.
All right, all right.
But
You know, yeah. You want to know where I store all my dad jokes? In a database. Good,
great,
good.
love it.
That's all. That's all I'm doing today. Nothing else.
That's all you're done. You're tapped out.
I got you laughing
Don't
twice,
ruin a
so
good
we're
thing,
good.
Jason.
Don't ruin a good thing. Third time's not a charm.
Right. All righty. Well, how about how about you open us in prayer and I'll go over the verse and
Sure.
we'll get started.
Ah, God, thank you for this beautiful day. At least it's beautiful where I'm at. And for all those who are not having a beautiful day, I just pray that you bring joy into their life and give them some hope today, God. And thank you for this topic that you've given us today for creating boundaries. And I just pray that the words that are spoken will just dive into our mind and dive to our heart. And as we go about the day, above all, I just pray that people would see your love through our actions. Amen.
Amen, brother. Thank you for that.
Ta-da, ta-da.
All right. Today's verse, Psalm 127 2. And this is the NIV version. In vain you rise early and stay up late,
Mm.
toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves.
Wow, what a verse! Like, were you spying on me last night or something? Because
Yeah,
I was up
verse
late
to live
last
by.
night.
So was
I
I.
was
I'm up late every night.
I was working in my garage cleaning stuff up so I can actually work on my motorcycle and stuff. So yeah, I was definitely up late toiling.
Well, how many of
Toy.
us
Yeah.
wake, eat, sleep, wake, eat, sleep, our business every day?
Rinse repeat.
Yeah. And we feel like we're getting no traction.
Yeah. Yeah. The futility of overworking. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this verse for relevance, the home service industry, this verse is a great reminder that while diligence and hard work are important, they should not come at the expense of
Yeah.
personal well being and trust in God's provision, setting boundaries, managing time efficiently, and ensuring rest are seen as aligning with God's desire for a balanced and fulfilling life.
For sure. That was like really relevant to this topic. That's
I
for sure.
thought it was.
Oh man, you gotta have balance. You gotta have trust. You know, you gotta value rest. I think that's one thing I remember as an electrician, man, especially when we did rewires. Man, you were just worn out from crawling around in attics and crawl spaces. And I just remember some days going home just completely beat and drained from the work, you know. And you got to value rest. I think that verse does a really good job emphasizing the importance of rest as well. Taking time to rest. It's not only beneficial, but it's endorsed by God, right? Hey, you got to have some rest here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get any higher authority than that, right?
I
And
like
we
that.
got
He
guys,
grants sleep to
if
those
you
he loves.
haven't taken this Friday off, we got the 4th of July weekend coming up. If you haven't taken the 5th off on Friday, take it off. Just schedule it.
You don't have to
I've
plead the
done
fifth,
that.
just take the fifth. I swear I wasn't going to do a third one, but
Yeah,
that was just
you should have stopped while you were ahead, Jason. But like Brandon said, it's a great timely topic,
yeah.
and I believe it is too. So
Yeah, I think yeah, another whole point of that is he grants sleep to those he loves. I really like those words. It's a gift from God, sleep is, right? So he values our need for rest and rejuvenation. He provides for us even when we sleep. Yeah, I just did a great job on that scripture. The whole thing is just that may have to go up on the wall. I like it.
in the
That'd be it.
notes, there's a spot about trust, and
Yeah.
this is hard for so many people.
Hmm.
But there's a line here in my notes. It says overworking out of anxiety or fear
Mm.
neglects the peace that comes from trusting in God.
Yeah.
And I think that sums everything up so well. I gotta mute my phone here real quick.
Good stuff. Andy Murrow's watching. That's my I would say he's my bug guy, but it's actually Chris who works with Andy. Andy, I'm telling you, Egyptian exterminating, marrying, they've top notch. Third generation, I think. Um, it was his grandfather that started the business, and his dad. And now Andy now runs the business. But yeah, talk about another good, solid Christian guy. Yeah. Hey, Andy.
Well, that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
the prior two generations did all the work. They're the ones that stayed up late, woke up early, so that he didn't have to. So I'm
Yeah.
sure
No.
everything's running super smooth for him, and he doesn't have to work all these hours that they did because they set him up.
Yes, because third generations, I know from experience, we don't work that hard. We
No,
toil
like
of every.
everything's like you just stepped into a perfect business that was
Yeah, I
already.
stepped into a pile of poop is what I
I mean,
stepped into.
after a couple of generations, you'd think that it would have been all figured out by then, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Boundaries are important when it comes to this work life stuff, right? Trying to figure out the boundaries. So, what are the boundaries? You know, why are they so crucial for maintaining your mental health and productivity?
I don't know why.
You're pushing buttons. I see you're just like
I'm just going as you're talking.
so for me, a work-life balance, right? Shane and I, we love to go to motorcycle rallies. We love to travel in our RV, be it for business or personal. I think we actually travel more for business in our RV than we do for personal. We'll go to vendor shows or, Encompass days or, there's all kinds of things that we get to do, but there's a little bit of work life balance, personal life in that. This is to me a great example because we get to travel. And while we're traveling, this last time we traveled, we went up north to a motorcycle rally this past weekend. And be it's a Thursday to Sunday, we like to get there a day early, set up, hang out, and we end up, sitting around the RV at night. And this past, I took a picture at night because there's a bunch of motorcycles that had pulled up to our RV, and we're just sitting there, just talking, shooting the breeze, and having a great time with other guys and gals that we don't get to see every day, right? But in the same aspect, we're still keeping an eye on our business. We've got a great team here at home. I can do all of my stuff remotely. I don't have to be sitting here at my desk. So I've got a great position in this company. I'm starting to take on more tasks where I have to be more in house. So there's still things that I have to schedule, right? But it's fun to be able to travel. Um, so that's one of those things that you really got to, if you're going to be growing your business and you get to that point, how, what can you do remotely and what do you have to do um, in house? And I think as a more of a service business owner, as you grow your company, there's a little bit more freedom that comes, but there's also a lot more challenges that comes with being able to grow. So, yeah, define those boundaries, write them down. Here's what I got to do uh, from a remote thing. Here's what I can do. Here's what I can do in house. And when you're here, right? You're focused. We'll talk a little bit more about that on how to um, time manage your strategies here in a little bit as well.
Well, I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is just because you can do some things remote, or when you as a business owner, I don't think we can ever just get away and
Nope.
and just cut everything off and take
Yeah.
like a sabbatical type thing, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be something that comes up.
I want
And
to take a month off from my business. Yeah, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
not gonna happen.
I think no matter how many people you have in place,
Yeah,
there's always something that's going to come up that's going to require you to be involved, and you need to be available.
yeah,
Now, being available is totally different than doing all the work, you
yeah,
know. Um so that could be the boundary, that hey, I'm available if you need me,
yeah,
but empower somebody else to make the decisions while you're gone.
yeah,
And as long as the world doesn't blow up with your
yeah.
business, I think that's okay.
Put your Shayna pants on, and is this something that you can deal without Shayna, or you need Shayna? It's
Right.
it's you gotta, I mean, and if you don't respect those boundaries, what happens? You can get burnout. You can get where you're not happy with your job anymore. You can strain your own personal relationships with your kids or your wife, right? Shane and I, we've been in business together since 2003, right? And we tried to put in place past our bedroom door, right? So our master bedroom door has the bathroom, has the bedroom, and then if you go outside, we got a little patio out there. It's got a hot tub, and we try to put in place. All right, this is our boundary. Past this door, no business talk. Did pretty good for a couple days, and then all of a sudden, it was a conversation that had, and then that boundary was broken, right? So, where's your boundary in your personal and business life? If you're like Andy and his wife, they work together in business. What are those boundaries, right? Where is that door that you're going to close that you don't have discussions about business behind this door, right? I think that's a good mental thing to take note of. Where's that door that you're not going to have business conversations behind? Because you don't want to strain your marriage. You don't want to strain your relationship with your kids. If you're sitting at the table, which we were guilty of this, we're sitting at the table because now Austin, he works with us. So you've got Austin, you got Shayna, you got Noni, you got me. The only one that doesn't work for us now is Isaiah, and he's off in the military. So, the majority of our household works in this business, and so it's when it comes dinner time, it can be really tough to set that boundary and not have a business conversation at the table. How was your day? Well, I took 100 phone calls today. you know, I mean, where does that go? Oh, I did great with marketing today.
I bet at
Uh,
your table you never have that, oh man, I'm just so sick of my dang job talk. Oh, like I
no, that
really wish I could quit.
yeah. Uh, hey, how's your burger? It's great. It reminds me of this phone call I took about somebody's stove not working, and it just
Right.
you try and it can veer back. So it can be tough. I'm telling you, especially when your entire family, because the majority of companies watching this, I know your family is involved. So take time out, go camping, go fishing. This weekend, we've been talking about it's 4th of July weekend. Take Friday off, go take a little short mini vacay if you're able to. But
I'm
if
going camping
anything,
this weekend. We're
yeah,
having
if
some friends out
anything,
to the river, and we're gonna light up some fireworks. I'm going
heck
out
yeah.
Wednesday evening, and not coming home until Sunday evening. So,
Yeah. I look forward to bringing my camper up sometime and we can camp in a van by the river.
yep.
So, all right. What about effective time management strategies? I know everybody's like, oh, that's so easy to say. But when it actually comes to doing this, let's talk about that a little bit.
How many of you actually block time off on purpose for actual, as a boundary that I am not going to do anything related to work during these hours or this entire day?
Hmm.
I mean, how many of you actually do that and then actually focus on doing something else and not
Hmm.
your business? It's hard because we get so focused in our mindset of our business, and it's a constant thought for me. How can I
Yeah.
improve this? What could I, have one of my people handle this task or that task? What can I get off my plate? I'm in that mindset right now. What can I
Yeah.
get off my plate? I'm reading a book right now called um Who Not How, and it's a pretty awesome book, and it talks about finding the who,
Hmm.
not finding how to get something done. It's finding the who
Yeah.
to help you get it done so that you don't have to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a really great book. um a lot more applicable. It's applicable to any business, but it's basically, it's like the other book that I read, Buy Back Your Time. It's
Yeah.
similar to that, but
Hmm.
it takes a completely different, more of a scientific approach to that concept. um and I'm only a
Right.
few chapters in, but it's been pretty good so far. So if you're looking for some books, Buy Back Your Time is a great one, and
I
so
feel a
is
I
Who
feel a new
Not.
blog post coming on, possibly. Might be looking at next week. There might be something productive
Yeah,
along those lines. I like that. Who, not how. I like it. Because, I mean, who, not how. I mean, you got my office help and ITD web design right here. That's two who's, not hows that get taken off your task.
right. And
And
even in our own business, it's kind of weird. We're finding our
yeah,
own who's.
who's, yeah,
We
exactly.
have to. We've
Yeah.
got to have another who to
Well, I
that we
mean,
can delegate things to. That's the power of building a company,
yeah,
because you can't do everything yourself.
yeah, 100%. It can reduce your workload hiring somebody else to answer your phones, hiring somebody else to create your website, hiring somebody else to do the SEO. Um, QuickBooks cleanups. That's one thing that, Shayna enjoys, and we have quite a few people that have us do just cleanups on their QuickBooks. And that's for some people, a daunting task, and for others, it's a minute task. Some of the
Yeah.
other digital tools that
EJ's got it
Mhm.
right here.
Those are two of my who's, ITD and
we
Mo.
are we're EJ's who's.
We're EJ's who's. Man, I'm gonna use that in a marketing post somehow. I'm a who. I'm a who. I Big Al. Yeah. My marketing mind thinking.
Big
So
Al.
what about, we were talking about the effective time management strategies and what are some tools, what are some tools that you use uh, for time blocking, for, you know, uh, however it may be to make your life easier when it comes to these tasks?
Literally, for me, I block time off in the calendar.
Yeah.
If I have to get something done,
Hmm.
I block time off, and I don't care how many times this phone rings. I don't care how many emails I get. I I shut everything down and ignore it all,
Yeah.
because that time has to be number one. It it's just basic time management.
Yeah.
If you're distracted by all these other things, you'll never get anything done.
Yeah.
So you have to block time off, specifically focus on that thing,
Hmm.
and which is why you shouldn't be answering your dang phone while you're fixing somebody's dryer or washer or refrigerator. I mean, you should have that being handled by a who in your operation, right?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
should focus on the task at hand, because if you don't, that's when you make mistakes. When you have those distractions, that's when you could have a frustrating phone call and it just ruins everything, and then you're working on something, you're mad, you're angry, and you know
Yeah.
offloading something like that is a simple way so that you
Yeah.
could effectively manage your time,
Yeah.
which is going to allow you to get more done. You're going to end up being happier. You're going to do a better job. You're going to make your customers happier. They're going to see you as a person that's just filled with a lot more joy and energy throughout your
Yeah.
day. I mean, there's so many benefits to it.
Yeah.
Um, so let's move on and talk about delegation and outsourcing.
Yeah. You're,
I touched on it a little bit, but
yeah. You're definitely talking about a place where it can reduce stress, reduce your workload. I know firsthand, trying to change out an electrical panel or diagnose a circuit not working, and having to try to answer a phone or be up in an attic crawling around and all kinds of, what, it's a nightmare. So definitely getting that delegation. Whenever you're looking to delegate, we have an onboarding like checklist, right? And we've talked about this before about how you can have certain questions that you want to have asked. Well, when a new client comes on board with us, we call it our MOTAKE, and these are the questions that you find it a priority to have asked. So when hiring somebody, the who, provide that criteria. What are you expecting? What are you wanting? What are you needing, right, for them to do the task that you're wanting to have done? So those repetitive tasks, those um, administrative work tasks that we talked about, answering your phone, scheduling, dispatching, QuickBooks cleanups, web design, things like that. Um, yeah, we talked a little bit about outsourcing phone calls during business hours. For us, we answer phones, primarily like 7 to 6:30, every day, and we're your office. When we talk about that we become your back office, we literally do. Now, we can do 24/7 answering through our AI platform, human sounding platform, but, um, yeah, even if you're not hiring somebody to answer your phones, be diligent about only answering your phones during business hours. If you're still that one-person truck or two-person truck, um, and you're answering your phones all yourself, think about that, right? If you're at the dinner table with your family and you get a phone call, what's more important at that point? Your family or taking that phone call from a potential client? If you answer your phone at that time, your family is going to then think, wow, his work is more important than me.
yep, I use Open Phone
Yeah.
as my phone system, and I'm the guy that answers the phone here in my company,
Hmm.
and it's because I don't have another who that can answer the phone yet,
Yeah.
um, and put that off. But I don't get nearly the call volume that a home service company would get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, most of my communications through email or
Hmm.
things like that. So,
Yeah.
um, my phone volume is relatively low. So when I get a phone call, I've set my phone system up that it's only supposed to ring from 8 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
And like last night, I had set up a schedule or a support ticket with Google, and they were supposed to call me about something. And I said the best time to call me is between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah.
And what time did they call me? 5:29 last night. And my phone didn't even ring. I had no clue that they even called until an hour later when I looked at my phone again, and I'm like, read your instructions, people. I had to email the lady back and say, you're going to have to call me tomorrow because you didn't follow instructions. This isn't my fault.
Yeah.
So at some point you just have to say enough is enough. Like in that case, I took time to go ahead and reply to an email because I had to scold Google for not listening, and it kind of ticked me off. But after that, I was done working, until this morning. So,
yeah, I mean, you're right on. Just setting those specific work hours and sticking to them. I'm going to hammer that again, how important that is. And giving those clients that information and your team members about those hours. It's important. I just can't emphasize that enough to set your work hours, stick to them. There's going to be those times you're going to get an emergency call. It depends on, a lot of appliance companies. Okay, unless it's like a refrigerator, a lot of people think that, okay, my appliance not working tonight is an emergency. In most cases, it's probably not. If it's a microwave, it's a stove, it's even a washer or dryer, unless the thing's flooding. I mean, there's really not much of an emergency that can't wait until tomorrow. And I hope people watching this that aren't in the service business understand, hey, us contractors, we have personal lives too.
and it's okay.
And it's okay. The other thing is if you don't want emergency calls or if you want less emergency calls, up your dispatch fee. When I went to a $300 emergency dispatch fee, people would often say, "Oh, what if I wait till tomorrow morning?" Oh, then it's just the $89 evaluation fee, and I'll fit you in when I can. Oh, yeah, it's not that big of an emergency. We can wait till tomorrow. Money motivates. I will say that time and time again when it comes to the service business. If people want to interrupt my evening for what they conceive an emergency, right? It's a $300 dispatch fee, and I will take a minor evaluation with that, right? And more often than not, they waited until the next day or until the next scheduled appointment time was available. So think about that one a little bit.
I mean, that's a great tactic. You get somebody on the phone, even during business hours. They want you there now.
Yeah.
Okay, you want me to drop everything and piss off, my next 3 customers? It's going to cost you 3 times the amount.
Yeah.
Or even 4 times, because now I have to make up on that. And now I've got to spend time calling other people and rearranging an entire schedule because you're needy, and
I think another good aspect to this whole part of this is your work environment. There's been a few times where we've had our office in our house. As a contractor, it is almost a non-negotiated thing as you're starting a new business that it's going to be in my house. Why does it have to be in your house? You can go get a dedicated office space. I remember finding a little small office space that I was able to rent just an office in a shared office space. It was $300 a month. That included all my utilities, that included trash, that included water, sewer, $300 a month. That was it. Cell phone, office space. Wasn't in my house. When we moved to the house we're in now in 2017, we ended up moving service detectives into what was an old office in the house. It's now a bedroom. We've converted it to a bedroom for Isaiah. But I remember we grew, and then we started my office help in that space, and we grew to there was 4 people sharing that little small room or that office. And I'm thinking this is horrible. So the warehouse that we're in now, was just a 2,400 square foot building that was a blank canvas. It had concrete walls and a shell as it. So we've been able to build out the entire office space. Now it's on our property, but it's away from our house, right? So we've got 4.5 acres. We call it the compound here. We've got the office space, we've got the house, but we're separated. We're about 100 feet apart. So for Shane and I, it's great and not so great. But where I go back to this point is, even if you have a garage, take half of that garage. If it's a 2-car garage and it's detached from your house, or even if it's attached to your house, take the furthest side of that garage, put a wall down the middle, even if it's a temporary wall, make that part your office. So it is a dedicated space that's away from your house, right? That gives you a workplace. Hey, I'm going to close this door. It's work time. When I leave this space, I'm leaving my office, until you can get to the point where you can rent a shared workspace, or until you can get your own office space. But having that productive work environment, it just gives you a place that's free from distractions to enhance your focus, your efficiency when you're doing your work tasks. So that's my preaching sermon on that spot.
Let's take a quick minute. There's a technique called the Pomodoro technique.
I thought you were going to say, let's take a quick minute to thank our sponsors.
The Pomodoro technique.
All right.
It's a time management method developed by Francisco Cirillo in the late 1980s. And it's to improve productivity and focus on breaking work into intervals. Now, I've tried this. It works, but you definitely have to get used to it, because it's traditionally 25 minutes in length, separated by short breaks. And I like short breaks. I'm a firm believer in mini breaks, because they allow you to gather your thoughts and clear your head. And
wait, did you say mini or many breaks?
Many throughout the day. We're not talking like 20, 30 minutes, 5, minutes, maybe 10 at the very most.
Enough to take a bathroom break and get a drink.
Yeah. I mean, just get up, walk away from what you're doing, clear your head, focus or think about something else, just for a few minutes. So first is select the task that you're going to work on, set a timer for 25 minutes. That's what's called the Pomodoro, named after the tornado-shaped kitchen timer Cirillo used as a university student. Work on that task. Focus solely on the task for the entire 25 minutes, nothing else, and avoid all distractions. Then take a short break. Timer goes off, take your 5-minute break, helps you rest and recharge. Then you come back, do it again. Then you can take a little bit longer break if you need to. That's basically it. It's very, very simple, but it definitely helps. I mean, if you're breaking it up into, the entire technique is 30 minutes each time. So every 30 minutes, you're working on something for 25, 5-minute break, you're right back at it. You would be amazed at how productive you can actually be when you do something like this. Because, okay, in an hour, you took a 10-minute break. So you actually only worked 50 minutes. But in most cases, you probably get more done in that 50 minutes than you would have in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in that.
I looked up the Pomodoro timer, and it literally is a tomato-looking timer.
Yeah.
And I looked up original Pomodoro timer, and it still shows a tomato timer. No, that's good. Taking breaks. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I have a desk that I can set, and it raises or lowers. So my watch tells me, "Hey, you've been sitting too long." Okay, good. Time to stand up, or go take a walk. I often tell people in our team, when you leave our space here, our office, you walk down to the energy park, you walk around the track once and walk back here, it's exactly 1 mile. So getting into personal care, right? This is our last subject we're going to be talking about today. Personal care and well-being is very important. So just taking the time out of the middle of the day, if it's not hot, or first of the day, go take a short walk. A mile doesn't take you very long to walk. If you take your time, 20, 30 minutes, enjoy nature, there's a good lunch break. Um, we have a few team members that smoke. So the back patio, go smoke. Our yard is huge. Go take a walk around the yard. Just enjoy the sun, get some vitamin D. That personal self care is very important. Shayna, I'm not sure if she's back on it yet or not, but she has her own space, and she really likes to go take time first thing in the morning and go read and do a little bit of yoga, a little bit of stretching. So that personal well being, right? That self care. If you're a lady that likes to go get her nails done, or you know, get your hair done, whatever it may be. Austin, we were talking yesterday. He's getting real scruffy in his beard, and his hair's getting a little bit long with his hat on. I'm like, dude, you're starting to look like Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump whenever he does the running. I said, you need to go get that sucker trimmed if you're going to keep your beard. He's like, I don't know where to go. I'm like, well, just go down here to the shop. And Nate's does a really good job of trimming it up. So he went yesterday, got his beard trimmed and his hair trimmed up. But you know, um, it's important for self care. You know, taking time for you personally. If you like to just go sit in a chair and smoke a cigar and drink some bourbon, at the end of the day, if that's what it takes for you to have that personal checkout for a little bit for self care, if you like to read the Bible and work out first thing in the morning, do that, right? Prioritize your personal well being over your work life. Because if you don't, all these things we've talked about, burnout, relationship problems, it's going to happen.
And make time for social and friendships. I mean,
100%.
that's one of my biggest problems.
Yeah.
I don't I don't prioritize my friendships the way I should. I
Yeah.
don't I don't take the time out to call a lot of people. I don't like just chatting on the phone a lot. Um I have a hard time just making scheduling time and
Hmm.
forcing myself to make time to actually go out to dinner with people,
Yeah.
and schedule something like that.
Yeah.
Um I just find that hard because it's like I get into the mode to where I think my friends will always be there,
Hmm.
but I've got so much on my plate. I got it. I'm looking at my task list,
Yeah.
every day, and it's like I got so much to do. And then, you know, I was thinking this past weekend I went camping, and down at my campground, I literally was like talking to my neighbor, and I'm like, he's like, you got it looking pretty good down here. I'm like, there's always something to do,
Hmm.
and he looks at me and he says, you're just making shit up to do. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm
Yeah.
literally making things up to keep
Yeah.
myself busy, and just
Wow. What a
I'm
realization.
I'm looking for all these little
Yeah.
things, and it's like, how important is that thing to do,
Right.
and I started thinking, I'm like, oh my god, I do the same thing in my business.
Yeah.
I
Work on
literally just
yourself
make
too.
crap up and to get busy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's a huge part of my problem.
Wow.
It was like a smacking me with a 2x4 in the face,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I make crap up just to have my people busy or myself busy, and that's not what I should be doing.
Yeah.
I should be focusing on what really matters, that 80/20. Focus on the 20% that makes you
Yeah.
80% of the money.
That's a great realization.
And it's a good reminder for me And I came back yesterday and I was like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I had a super fruitful day yesterday. I felt like I got a lot accomplished. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
it's
good stuff.
good. It's good to have that. A lot of times those social interactions, they will wake you up in ways that you never thought. But then again, I was still in business mindset mode, afterwards, thinking to myself as I was cutting the grass, riding around on the lawnmower, you start thinking,
Yep.
and I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was doing this.
Yeah.
But
Well, as we come to close out our morning today, or just a quick recap, we covered understanding the importance of boundaries, effective time management strategies, delegation and outsourcing, which is the who, not how. That book, that's pretty good. Scheduling and focus techniques, prioritizing well-being. So, if you enjoyed it, pay the fee. I'm going to say that every week. I love that. Pay the fee. Go like, subscribe, share this post. Go like and subscribe and share to Mike, ITD Web Design, my office help. Yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. We've got a lot of good comments and feedback today. So appreciate you all
absolutely.
watching.
And if you're not a part of Service Alliance Group, go to servicealliancegroup.com, get in our all access membership. You'll have access to masterminds and a host of other resources. We got a ton of people in there, and we're shaking things up. So
Shake the sugar tree.
love
Like
to have
Pantilla
you
said.
over there. All right.
All right. Make it a great week.
We'll see you next week. Everybody take care.
Time for the awkward silence.